Okay, let's try this again, y'all.
Can you see me?
I can't.
Okay,
I
well,
don't know
I can
what it
see you.
is. Huh?
Maybe
Can you see
ask
me?
everybody. Yeah, I can see you and you can see me. I mean, and they can see both of us, so I'm not sure what's going on
Okay,
here.
Lisa, can you see me? Can you see Ty? Because I know she on here. Lisa,
I don't see anybody.
it's two people in here. Can anybody see me and see Ty at the same time? Because it's like it's trying to connect, and I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's the signal or not.
One of the persons that are in there that's on, she can see me. So
Okay, well, I can't see you, but I'm just gonna go for it because
okay,
I can't.
no
And I hate
problem.
that because I feel like I'm talking to myself.
It's okay. I'm here.
Mhm. Okay, so thank you all for joining me today for Relationship Friday. As you can see, we're starting a little bit early today. I have some things to do later on today,
Trying to
but
get.
I wanted to get this in today. So, and as you all can see, my special guest is none other than Miss Tyenta Hollie. Thank you, ma'am, for joining me. How are you today?
I am well. How are you?
I am fine. I'm glad it's Friday. I'm tired, but you know what? It's all right. I got a 3-day weekend, so I'll be able to enjoy my weekend.
Okay.
So, as you all know, as a disclaimer, we are not professionals. We are just two grown folks having grown folk conversation. If you get something out of this, great. If you don't, that's great too. But again, we're just here having good conversation, so don't take nothing that we say personal. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. Ty, are you ready?
Okay, I am ready.
Okay. So, um, first question is, can you agree that a fundamental value in marriage is being able to serve each other?
Can I agree that the fundamental value in marriage is being able to serve each other?
Yes.
Yes, I can agree with that. I actually was having this conversation uh, probably a couple of days ago, and one of the things that we don't ask the other person to even know in marriage how we can serve them is what they need from us. A lot of
Hmm.
people go into relationships loving a person the way you would want to be loved. So you
Right.
do them um, how you want to be treated. And so the only way to truly master this is to just ask the person that you're seeing or you're married to, what is it that you need from me? And then that way you know exactly what's needed in order to be able to serve all of their needs, not just in a way of submission or just to being a good wife, being a good husband, but just knowing across the board, this is what I need. This is what's a deal breaker for me. This is what I can work with. So yes, I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree with that too. I think people who associate serving and submission as the same thing, um, which is in itself, you want to be able to serve one another as you stated. Um, One that's it makes for a healthy marriage that you are able to take care of each other so that of course neither party is looking on the outside for whatever it is that they're missing.
Mm-hmm.
um and the same thing with submission doesn't always mean the negative aspect of what people like to call it. It's basically you're submitting yourselves to each other. It's
Mm-hmm.
not you do what I say. It's a let's figure this thing out. Let's what is it that you need from me? How can we work this thing out together? There's nothing wrong with serving your mate. A lot of times when you had never had that, um, you don't know what to do with it when you get it. Some like for me, I've always, like I stated last week, I've always jumped in a relationship and gave 100% of myself to that person. I was able to serve that person 100%, but it wasn't always reciprocated. So it does help when both parties are willing to serve each other. Um, and again, it's communication. You have to, like you said, you have to communicate the things, your wants, your needs, and your desires. And if that person is able to fulfill those things, great. If they're not, then if it's something that you're lacking, then again, you have to talk about those things so that you are able to come to a happy medium. Maybe that person doesn't know how to do certain things. So if they don't know how, then you like, okay, well, this is what I like, and you maybe it's something you could show them. It could be something so simplistic, and that would kind of make your a life a little easier, and your marriage a whole lot easier, I would think.
Yes, I just heard something that you said, and I want to piggyback off of that. The thing about serving someone 100%. I don't want to make the mistake of ever being able to say I served you 100% if I didn't ask you what you needed from me, because what
Mhm.
you view as 100%, and I'm not saying that this was your situation, and I don't know if you
Yeah.
spoke with your spouse or not, but if you didn't speak directly with them and see what they needed from you, you can't truly say you gave it 100%. We make that mistake a lot as women and men, but I'm speaking as a woman because I'm a woman. Um,
Mhm.
a lot of women make the mistake, well, I do everything. I did this, I did that. You did everything for him, but what about what you did was something that he needed? And I'm not talking about the basic.
Uh-oh. Okay, hold on. Let me get her back on. I had my screen had froze. I'm sorry, everybody. Okay.
Lot going on here today. Um, but what I was saying was, we make the mistake of saying I gave somebody 100% without having a conversation about what equals 100% for them. And I
Right.
don't think that you'll be fully able, in my opinion, to give a person 100% because none of us have 100%. We're growing and we're working on having that every day. But um, I used to make that mistake until I had to just ask myself one day, like, have we had a conversation about what you really need? I know
Hmm.
what I needed, and I voiced that. We women always voice. We always voice exactly how we feel. Men don't necessarily do that, so we have to
No,
kind
we
of like
don't.
we have to ask, and leaving my marriage the marriage that I just left after being with somebody for almost 20 years, I would always ask that question. I just never got the answer, and
Oh,
so it's important for me, and maybe that person did not know what it was they needed. And that's fair. We're going through life, we're figuring it out. A lot of times we don't know what we need. But if you do know what you need, I think it's important to ask that person and to voice what it is that you need.
yeah. I mean, I guess 100% is whatever that person deems is
Yeah.
their 100%. Um, because again, like you said, men don't typically communicate, and it's not so much that they're not telling you. It's like they're telling you inadvertently, and you like, I'm not a
Hmm.
mind reader. Can you please help me out a little bit?
Right.
And it's, they get frustrated because you're not understanding their innuendos. And I'm like, if you just say what you want, I can rock with you and give it whatever it is you need. Because, like you said, if I want something, or if I'm missing something, if there's a need, I'm going to express that to you,
Hmm.
so that I don't get frustrated, so that you don't get frustrated trying to figure out what the heck is wrong with her, why she walking around like that. So yeah, so 100, so if for me, 100% is I'm gonna give you my all. I'm gonna give you what I have to offer. That hopefully I can add to that,
Hmm.
whatever it is that you're missing. But the best way to do it is just communicate whatever it is that you need. So I guess we can agree.
Yes,
Communication
absolutely.
is the main factor that is
Absolutely.
missing from this whole situation. It's just communication. You have to
Yes.
talk to each other. And I think
Yes.
that's the demise of a lot of relationships because people just don't want to talk to each other no more. It's like, okay, you here, I'm here, that's enough. And a lot of times that is not enough. You have to have communication.
Yes.
And that's where cheating comes into law because somebody, when you're not talking to that person, somebody else gives them their ear. And that other person who gets that ear, you know, other things tend to follow. And that's, you definitely don't want that. So you have to be willing to communicate and open up and talk to each other so that those things you don't allow for certain situations to creep into your marriage.
Yes.
Yeah. So the next question, we're going from marriage to dating. The dating, I saw this question. Let me clarify. I saw this question online. I was watching another podcast
Hmm.
and I thought it was interesting. Um, So this question is, could you date someone who has been with someone of the same sex?
Absolutely not.
Right. Okay, you give you what why do you feel that way?
Um, Nothing to what you prefer, nothing to what you like. But for me, I've only been with what I feel God placed on this earth for me to
Hmm.
have, and that is with a man. And I don't I don't think that I can be in a situation where I'm constantly wondering when are you going to go back the other way.
Right.
Um, I just don't think I'm that strong to do
Right.
that.
I don't think
I don't want to
anybody.
I don't want to be in my relationship always wondering. I'm not a normally jealous person. I'm not a normally suspicious person.
Hmm.
I'm not even a person to ask a lot of questions. Whatever you tell me, that's what it is until it's not. So
Right.
for me, I don't want to put myself in a position where I'm now constantly worrying, when are you going to leave me? Or when
Right.
would you want that again? If that's not something that I live in the real world, and I would be torturing myself in the real world, who I am, to be
Hmm.
trying to date somebody who has dated the opposite sex. More power to them that they have moved away from that, um, and that they were able to find love in what it was actually designed for. And that's not to knock anybody who does
Right.
not agree with me, because I
Right.
don't have anything against anybody in the community.
Right.
But for myself, if it were me, the answer would be no, absolutely not.
Yeah, and that's it's the same for me. It's like you said. I mean, I'm glad you got delivered, but but for me, it's one of those things. Is like you said, I'm always gonna be like, if I see a nice looking guy walking past, I'm like, yo, are we looking at the same person? like, like you looked a little bit too long, brother.
First of all, I consider myself an alpha female. Um, that's not going to work for me.
Right.
It's just not, because I don't think you can go back to being the man that I would need for me.
Hmm.
So no, absolutely not.
Yeah. So no. Yeah, it's a hard no for me. Like I said, those are our reasons. But again, we're not trying to offend anybody. But it's just one of those things, and I think it's kind of hard to not see it. You can't unsee it, even though you didn't technically see it. You just can't unsee it. It's
Right.
one of those things. It's like, okay. So it's almost like if you did live that lifestyle, I'd rather you just not tell me. You
No,
know,
I would rather that you
I mean, I'd
told
rather
me.
you tell me. So, but at the same time, it's like
That's not me. I would
doing.
rather that you allow me to know and let me make a
Mm-hmm.
decision for myself. Don't
Yeah,
come into a relationship lying from the start. That's just not going to work.
because what happens with that? I saw when I was looking at the podcast online. the guys were saying, well, that was their past, and but I think it's a guy thing. I, you know, I don't know with that whole situation, but I think with women we see things a little bit differently. I think it's a thing of masculinity in a sense. Um, I don't know. It's just
We
a
all
no.
have a past. Let me say that. I have a
Yeah,
past, you have a past, we all have a past.
yeah.
But there are just some things,
Just some lines you can't cross.
if you were if
Yeah.
you I'm not even gonna go there. But no.
Okay.
Everyone has a past, and
Yeah.
that's fine and well that you have a past. I don't judge people on their past. I've been through a lot of things in life.
Yeah.
I'm not a judge of people's past. I don't hold that against them, but I know my limits and I know what I'm made of, and that's just not something I could do. And that's just being honest about it, not to offend anybody that could, or not to offend anybody
Yeah.
who has gone through that transition.
Right. Like, and we
I'm
hope
just
whoever has gone through that transition, we hope that you find love.
absolutely.
'Cause it's always somebody out there who can accept the situation and be like, okay, they've changed and you all live happy ever after.
Hmm.
But I guess the moral of the story is just be straight up and be honest in the beginning and
Correct.
allow her to have that option or allow him to have that option
Hmm.
to whether they want to deal with the situation or not. Um, and that way, at least they can respect you better. If you just come straight, be more forthcoming.
Hmm.
So, moving on, the next question. Basically, it's like the next question has to do with today's situation. You have a lot of people who like to test the waters before they enter in the forever, and the forever is marriage. So the next
Okay, I'm putting
question
my
is
glasses
to
on.
shack or not to shack? That is the question.
Who I used to be the woman that would
Um,
say, I do not want to live with, I do not want to, I don't want to marry a man one before I sleep with him. I mean, I didn't want to be married before I slept with you, and I didn't want to move in with you until we were married, which is crazy. I know it doesn't make sense, but it's almost like if I was gonna go buy a brand new car,
hmm
and I wouldn't just go to the car lot and drive off in the car. I would test drive the car. If I wanted to eat at my favorite restaurant, how am I going to know that the food is actually good if I don't taste the food? So for me, um, I cannot,
Let's see.
I
Hold on.
cannot, huh?
No, Pastor Sergeant had wrote something. He said it works the same way if someone doesn't want a mate who's had multiple partners. He was
Absolutely.
he was answering to our last one.
Oh, the last question. Oh,
Yeah,
that
but
applies
that's
in
true
this
though.
situation too.
Yeah.
For this situation, so for me, I'm 48 now. So I thought that way when I was younger. But I got into a situation one time, and that's when my mind changed about we need to actually live together before we get married. And I know that's not the Bible. I'm a preacher's kid, mother and father, both ministers. My father's deceased, my mother still alive, still an evangelist. I get it, I got it. But with that being said, um, people pretend, and people pretend well. And so when I'm just dating you and going over to your house, that's one thing. I don't see how you handle your finances. Just because you have a house doesn't mean you know how to pay your bills. You could be about to go into foreclosure. I don't know. And I'm speaking from experience. Like I've actually been through what I'm saying right now. And so um I need to know how you are when there's a struggle. I need to know how you handle paying your bills. I need to know how you do your finances. And if I'm just dating you, that we can talk about those things, but a lot of times you don't really know how a person manages a home and their finances until you're actually living with them. You can talk about and you can go over the house and see how they live, but that's not the meat and the potatoes when you actually get into a relationship. And so having dated and then been engaged and then got married and you live with somebody, You can find out that this person is a complete slob. How would you know that if they clean up every time you're getting ready to come over their house?
Right.
You're not going to know that. Some things you're not going to find out until you get married. And for me, I need to see how you live. I need to see if you host parties every weekend, if all your homeboys come over every Friday, Saturday, because I'm not the type of woman that wants to be around any man that I'm dating friends. Like, I just know. If I know you and we're hanging out, we're doing dates and stuff like that, but like y'all just coming over to the house every weekend, watching the game and all of that, like I could do that sometimes, but I don't like to be around the person that I'm in a relationship with friends. Nothing to them, but I'm a female and I need to be over here. And I'm
Mm.
fine with them being over there. So I don't have a problem with him going out, spending time and stuff, but I'm just a different person. I'm an introvert. And so I don't like a lot of people in my space and in my home.
Mm.
So I need to see how you live, how you clean house, all of that. So I personally will shack before marrying someone. I'm never getting married again. So
Right.
this
I mean,
don't
I
apply to
guess.
me.
Right. I guess to offer a sense of balance, like you said, from a biblical standard, we're not supposed to be living together until we are married. I've done it twice. To just be transparent, I lived with my ex-husband prior to being married. Um, and honestly, I saw the red flags and still got married. Jesus help me. And I should have ran when I moved the first time. No shame, because he probably gonna see this. My bad,
Oh
Andre.
my goodness.
But but I did see. I do understand the aspect of what you're saying. Um, you do see a lot of things prior to, but I think now that I did it the second time I was engaged, but he ended up passing away. Now my
Mm-hmm.
circumstances was because he passed away and I was not his wife, I didn't have any say so. Um, in like what happened to him as far as how he was going to be buried. Not so much buried because he got cremated, but I
Mm-hmm.
didn't have any say in his in the final aspects of things. When you're taking care of his final business, I didn't have any say so. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
his daughter was kind enough to give me some input, but ultimately the decision was hers. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
it was things of that, as there are benefits to doing things in order. Um, as far as you know before you move in, but I guess it's also if you're moving in prematurely, if you're not able to get places on your own, or I don't know, I'm trying to figure out how to say, because I don't want to sound like I'm just talking out the side of my neck. um you don't want to get in a situation where, say, you all are living together and then it just doesn't necessarily work out, but now you don't have anywhere to go. Who's going to keep this place? It's like this never ending back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
I know with my ex-husband, prior to us getting married, I tried to put him out twice, but he he wouldn't leave. Um, but it was like, what can you do when this person's name is on the lease? You couldn't really say anything. It was like one of those situations. Who are going to tell put him out, because technically this is his home. Well, our second apartment. I couldn't do anything about it. It was a lot of different factors that played in that. Yes, you do get a chance to see how they operate, how they sleep, how they clean, how they shake and move throughout the day. But I guess it's no different than if you did just decide to wait until you're married, because you're still going to see the same things. I guess because you're more committed in a marriage and you're more willing to work things out versus if you're not married. Let me see. Pastor Sargent said it's really a decision to choose kingdom over culture, which is true. You do. God's way is always the best way. And if you are a believer, some people may not be, but if you are, this is the route that we should take. If you're coming from the Christian's perspective, I don't really know. I guess it's something that you have a decision that you have to make on your own. Um, about that, I know for me, I don't think I would ever live with anybody else unless I'm married, because it's just, for me, it was a headache for me. And because of, like, my last relationship, how everything ended, I definitely wouldn't want to experience that ever again. Because it was a lot and stuff that I still have flashbacks on. It's like it's a never ending saga. because he'll be gone. He'll be passed away for 1 year in a couple of weeks, and it's something that you just don't forget because that was the last thing I saw in our home, you know. So it's just one of those things. I don't think I would ever do it again, unless I'm married. Yeah, but I don't think I would live with anybody else.
Everywhere
After.
that I have lived, I've been on my own. Let me say this first. Since I was 16, paying bills in my own apartment, and I'm 48 now.
Hmm.
Every single place that I have lived, I've never lived with a man but once.
Hmm.
And that's when I actually moved to Indiana right before I was getting ready to marry my husband. I moved there, I moved in with him, and then I moved out of his house. And then I got my own place. And then he moved in with me. So, one of the reasons why I've always done that is because I've just always been the type of person that liked to have my own. And my dad and my mom had always told us that, always have your own money, always have your place, never depend on someone else, not just a man, anybody to take care of you. Because when they're not able to, then what happens? And so I just always had my own place. I never wanted to live with a man, being that I had children. I always wanted to have a place for me and my kids to stay. So I was in long-term relationships, and they just always moved in with me. That's how it always been. And so what I decided is, one, I'm never getting married again. And two, I don't think I could ever live with a man again now that I'm the age that I am now.
Hmm.
I've taken a year and a half off to just kind of almost 2 years off to kind of heal. And living alone, this is the first time, honestly, that I've lived by myself in 48 years.
Hmm.
And I just realized that you've been living with people your entire life, your children, your spouses, you've never lived alone. So for the
Right.
first time when I moved to Vegas almost 2 years ago, it's the first time that I've lived alone. And I had to go to therapy because I realized at that time that I was codependent on my children.
Hmm.
I was
Yeah,
codependent on my children. I
there's
was
somebody that's
codependent in
always
the
been there
relationships
beside
that I was
you.
in because someone else had always been around since I was
Yeah.
16. I've been a mom that long. And so um I need to live alone. I've had
Yeah, I mean,
oh my,
sometimes you have to learn how to be comfortable in your singleness. I know for me, like I'm in my singleness, but I like I said last week, I absolutely hate, hate being single. And it's not that I need somebody to do, a man, like not a man in that aspect, because you always need your man. We need you, man. Okay, I don't want y'all talking about she told me she don't need no man. That's not what I said. As far as like, it's the comfort of like if you're going out somewhere, like the things that I like to do,
yeah.
it requires more than one person. I'm one of the people I'm like you. I am an introvert, but when you want somebody around you, you want somebody around you. And I have my mom, I have my sisters, but I'm not around them all the time. But
Hmm.
sometimes you want the affection, and it doesn't. I'm not always talking about sex. It's just you want the intimacy
Hmm.
of a man who's yours, like whether it's your boyfriend or your fiance or your husband, just to spend that quality time with. Because a lot of times you need that,
Right.
I'm trying to think of the word to say. You need that time or that intimacy from that person. Just to do things with. Sometimes you want to hold somebody's hand just to go to the museum. Like I love going to the museum. I love going to um, I like art. I like going to see live shows. I like to travel. Traveling is my thing. I love doing that. But to go by yourself is like,
Hmm.
ooh, I don't want to do it. Like I hang out with my friends. I talk to you all. But it's like, okay, sometimes you want to do things with somebody else, because I think that's absolutely necessary. I think that's how we are wired,
Hmm.
in a sense. And intimacy again doesn't mean it's not always sex. It's just you want the you want to. I don't know. I'm trying to say it. Do you understand what I'm saying, Ty? I feel like
Yeah,
I'm
you
talking in
you just you
circles.
just want I understand what you're saying. Sometimes you just want the essence of a man around.
Yeah.
When you want to go eat, when you want to go watch a movie. I'm trying to work on that now. I moved to Vegas, like I said, a year and a half, almost 2 years ago. Stayed in the house the entire time. Didn't go anywhere. Didn't do anything. And so I just now really started getting back out and I haven't really still gone out. I think tomorrow will be the second time I've gone out since I've really been here, to
Mm-hmm.
do things and enjoy myself, because my sister lives here too, and she stays in, near me in my apartment complex. She goes out all the time. She's a single woman. She's not a parent, so she can do that.
Okay.
But what I'm finding is there are certain things that I like to do that I didn't even know I liked, because I went from being a teenager to a mom and then raising kids and just working my entire life, just never really doing any of the things that I wanted to do, because you're a wife, your mom, and then you kind of lose yourself. And in my case, I never really got to a point to even know what it was that I liked. And
Right.
spending this year by myself, this year or so by myself, and then doing the work, going to therapy and for almost a year and a half, and just doing the work, I learned a lot about myself. And I've always liked to be alone. But when I get into relationships, I'm a long-term person. You see what I'm saying? Like I
Right.
can be with somebody for 20 years, break up, don't date again for 4 years, date somebody again for 15 years. I'm that person. I do not
Yeah.
believe in jumping from relationship to relationship. And I feel like when you break up with someone, you should take some time to be alone, and then
Yeah. Because
see what you
it
did
gives
in the
you a sense
relationship.
of it. Yeah.
Yeah, see what you did, see what
Yeah.
you contributed to why it didn't work. No, from in my case, learn what you want, learn what you need, learn what it is that the things you like to do, because you've never done those things. And
Absolutely.
I'm writing a lot now, and I'm talking more, and I just feel like and it was needed. This shift
Yeah.
that happened for me, it was needed.
Yeah. Because I know when I got divorced, I've been divorced for 7 years now,
Hmm.
and I took about a year off too from dating anybody before it was, I think a year and a half was right before I met Raheem. And then after I met him, we were together for 5 until he passed away. So now I've been by myself for another year, and so I've learned a lot. I mean, I took some things away, like what did I do here? What could I have done differently here? Like in my last relationship, I think I did everything that I could have done. The only thing I do have like regrets with that relationship is like I thought maybe I could have did something differently as far as how he passed away, because he had a massive heart attack at home. So
Okay.
it was something I thought like, what could I have done differently? What signs that I didn't see? So I think what it's made me do is pay a little bit more attention to certain to things.
Hmm.
So now I'm like the human medical book, like, oh, what's going on with you? Oh, you need to go to the doctor.
Everything's a sign.
Right, like, oh my God, you didn't go over here. Like, I don't want to make me paranoid, so I'm trying to work on that too, because I don't want to be that nagging person. Like, oh, your toe hurt. I think you need to go to the doctor. You need some pills or something for that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I don't want
let's
to
not
turn into
become
that
paranoid.
individual. So,
Yeah.
so it's like, so for me, it's more of like you said, it's finding yourself. And I don't know who this is.
MW
MWD.
Junior 1069
Yeah,
said that's called finding yourself. It absolutely is,
yeah,
because I
absolutely. I
definitely
mean, but
found
finding
myself.
yourself is absolutely necessary. You take the good and the bad from whatever it is in a relationship, and you apply that to your own life. To and you can make the necessary adjustments, because you definitely don't want to bring in old baggage from one relationship. Pastor Sergeant 28 says most people never take time to really heal. So,
That's true.
so the, so the wait, so they bring the baggage from the old into the new. Now your heart gets broken twice, and that's
Hmm.
true. So it's
Hmm.
like you have to release certain things. Like if somebody did something to you that caused some type of disdain between you two, you have to be able to release that person from whatever it
Hmm.
was in order to properly move on. Um, because all I'm gonna do is keep going over and over and keep repeating the same cycles in relationships. You're gonna keep attracting the same person that you left over here, because you bring your even though you're not with them, you're
Hmm.
still always gonna find them just with a different face. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Hmm.
So it's like you're still dating the same person.
Hmm. I
Instead of
agree.
his name being Peter, you dating Little Mook Mook, but it's still Peter Mook. It's the same person.
Yes, I agree. I agree.
Yeah, so you definitely have to make sure that you're whole and complete prior to getting into another relationship. Um, because a person can tell when you're not complete. Hopefully you give somebody that doesn't take advantage of that, because some
Mm-hmm.
people can take advantage of a weak moment.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, is more common than none, especially these days. Um, they see, oh, well, she got this, and they ask 50 million questions, trying to portray what they think you don't want, and then they put this facade on, and then it come find out later he just as bad as the next one, if
Mm-hmm.
not worse. So
You have jumped out of the frying pan into the fire.
you ain't lying. That's the truth, though. That's the truth. So the best thing to do, don't, like you said, don't jump from one relationship. But like they always say, the best way to get over somebody is to get under another. No,
That ain't it.
don't do that to yourself. Don't
That's
do
not
that to
it.
yourself, because it's not going to end well. It's
Right.
really not, because you're gonna always crave whatever it was that you got from that relationship, and you're gonna take it right into the next one. So
Right.
just take the time, like she was saying, take the time to get to know you. Who are you? What are you about? What are your likes? What don't you like? What you would tolerate? What you won't tolerate? Uh, you know, know exactly what you're looking for, and you
Mm-hmm.
don't have to settle just because people say you have to settle. Right, like Pastor Sarah said, you have to do your homework. You
Yeah,
do.
for
It's
sure.
not just on them. You have to do it on you too, because we're constantly changing, constantly learning, constantly elevating every day.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you have to be able to bring some form of balance into your next. And you don't want to be all over the place.
Absolutely.
Because I think when you're all over the place, and especially if the person knows that you're all over the place, it might scare them off. They're like, I ain't got time to deal with this.
Listen, I'm an energy person, and I absorb people's energy like an empath, empathic.
Yeah,
I can feel everything that a person is going through, and I just decided I can't do nothing else that's broke.
yeah,
I can't. You're not gonna keep breaking me, So I can't
right.
do anything else is broke, and then I'm winding up getting broke in the process. And so, do the work, do the
Yeah,
healing. Do what you need to do for you. And if it's meant for us to be here, God is gonna make sure that happens.
yeah.
But if it's not,
Especially
He's gonna
if
make
you
sure
know
that
it's true,
happens as well.
right. Especially if it's God ordained, it's gonna work out
Exactly.
either way, some kind of way. Even if you all take a step back and you break up, you might come back even stronger, because you may need that minute to work on you. A lot of times, it's not a bad thing again to be by yourself, even though I hate it. It gives you time to get your affairs in order.
Right.
Like your husband, you want your husband to have XYZ, or whoever, your wife to have XYZ. But do you have XYZ? Do
Right.
you got good credit? Do you got at least some money in the account? And this is the time for you to get yourself together, so that when you do meet your person, you are able to come to the table full and with something to offer. It's not saying that you got to be Rockefeller and have all this money, this, that, and the other, but at least you have something to bring, and you all could come together jointly and actually to live a nice life, a
Hmm.
really good life. Not everybody is meant to be millionaires or billionaires, but you want to at least be happy and comfortable,
Right.
in life. Especially most of us, I'm 40. I still have more years ahead of me, but I'd like to be, for the rest of my years, I want to be comfortable. I want to be, pretty good. I don't want to always be scratching my head like that. Did I eat today? Like Cat Williams? I don't want to
Oh
do
my
that. So just food for thought. And everybody, if you have a question, if you want to pop on and ask a question, we'll bring you in. Or if you want to comment and you want to come on camera, we'll bring you on. So don't be afraid to hit that button. Ask your question, we'll respond to it, and you can pop off. All right. So the next question is, I saw this. So this is a question, something I've talked to my friends about. And the question was, is it possible to be married and live separately? Like,
Yes.
I've heard people say that they're
Who
married, but
would do it?
and they like it, like like they like
Would
it.
do it in a
They
heart
feel like
would
the
do it in a
marriage is
heartbeat.
better because they don't have to be bothered all the time. And it's not that they're doing anything. It's just they live in two separate spaces.
Um, yes. I'm gonna say it like this, because to me, it's no different than living in the same house with somebody, and they have a man cave, a man have a man cave, or a woman have a she shed, and that's where you spend all your time.
Right.
What's the difference? You only come
Well,
out
I
to
guess
eat.
because you're not in the actual home, like you pretty much are coming over like a guest.
To me, it's the same. So if we live together and you spend all your time in one room and then I spend all my time in one room, we don't do anything together. It's this, and then we come out every now and again. We bump into each other. We may go to the grocery store. We may go out to eat or something like that. To me, it's the same thing as living in separate houses. We living like roommates anyway. First of all, when you
Right.
get to that point, you're already roommates, okay? Um, and there's nothing wrong with having a man cave and a she shed, but why not? Why can't just be a prayer room or something? Why can't
No, see
be?
what they're meaning by having their own space, meaning they have their own apartment. Like you have an apartment or you have
I
your own house.
yeah, I know what you meant. I'm just saying
Oh, okay.
to me, it's kind of like
Okay.
the same thing. So to me, absolutely, yes, I could do it. If I were to get married again, and I don't think that I ever am, so let me put that out there again for the third or fourth time. It would have to be that way.
I'm gonna say this: if I'm married, your behind better be in the same house.
I'm good.
I need to smell you. Okay, talking about you getting some dog in the apartment and some another house. Not today. Absolutely not. My thing is, what is the purpose of getting married if you don't have your own place? Absolutely, no,
I
we're not doing
mean,
that. We're
first
not
of
doing
all,
that. I couldn't do it,
you
guys.
now
I
have
swear, I couldn't
assets.
do it because it's like if I roll over at night, I want to be able to touch you. I don't want to call you like, hey, you come to spend a night. Like I don't want to do that. Like I want to
Pastor
roll over
Starton
knowing
said,
that you're there.
Pastor Starton said, just stay single. You
Yeah,
probably right.
that's almost
I
how
am.
it is. Like, what was the purpose of being married if you don't have your own place? You know
I
what I
am
mean?
gonna stay. I am gonna stay single, as in not married. But I don't think I want to live with another person. So for me, that may be the thing. That's why I said if I'm not getting married, this don't even apply to me. But I don't want to live with a boyfriend either anymore. I
Right.
don't. I just want to date you, go out, have a good time. Uh, yeah, we don't need to live together.
Yeah, but I
We
know,
don't.
like, I would like to be married again one day. So, whoever, dear future husband, you can't have your own place, okay? Oh, crap. You got to stay in the house with me. If you get mad, go down into your man cave and then bring your little happy tail upstairs, okay? All right, praise the Lord.
On a more serious note, God could change my mind, but the tie that I am today, um, I'm gonna have to say I'm fine living alone. I'm actually fine being single because I was
Yeah.
in a almost 20-year relationship.
Mhm.
I've been out of that relationship for almost 3.5 years, but I've been away from that person and away from that relationship for a year and a half when I moved here. And um, I how I am right now, the peace that I have, the discernment that I have, the stillness, me being able to be able to can hear God when He's speaking. Um, that's important to me, and I need that right now because for almost 20 years I lived in chaos.
Mhm.
So I don't necessarily want to share my space right now with anyone else. Now I can share my life with you, and I can absolutely be in a relationship. I'm
Mhm.
best in a relationship. I like being in relationships. But just having got out of that long term relationship, I'm not looking to jump right back into a relationship, and I'm definitely not looking to live with anybody ever again.
Mhm.
And
I'll say this.
it's not because of the marriage that I want to live in anybody. I just have never had this found peace that I have now, and I don't want to give it up.
Well, I'll say this. I know you personally, and I hope that God does change your heart because I know the type of person that you are. I think you have
Oh,
a lot to offer. I think that you have such a giving spirit, and you have a passionate spirit, especially for whomever that you're with. My prayer is that whoever God brings into your life offers you who can bring forth that same energy of your because you're an energy person, and that could meet you where you are and could afford, like I said, afford you that balance. Because I think you have a lot to give and a lot more love to give right now because what happened to you is kind of turned you off. And that's just my personal opinion. I could be wrong, but I do feel that you are you have a wife spirit. I don't think you're meant to be by
Mm.
yourself. But that's just from what I see, and that's from what I believe from being around you. Um, but I do pray that the right person come into your life, and I do believe that God will change your heart about that. But it's gonna take the right man to come into your life that can show you what it is you want. God knows what you want, He knows what you need, and I think that He can give that to you. You just have to be open to it when it comes. You know, Pastor Sarge said, "Living
I
alone is
receive
okay
it.
when you're in your own, when you're cool in your own skin." Yeah,
Absolutely. And as I said, this is the first time that I actually got to this space in a long time. So that's very important to me right now. It's a necessity right now, and I'm just not ready to give it up.
right. No, no, I'm not saying give it up. I'm just saying like I do believe in future wise, I do see you getting married again. I'm
Oh
just telling you what
Lord.
I see. But I see you with somebody that's going to bring that peace to you. You know what I mean? Like because I know, like I said, I know you, and you need that. You don't need chaos. You don't need all that friction. You need somebody that's able to love you unconditionally and can give you exactly what it is that you need. And I believe that God can give that to you. Now, if you just don't want to be married, and fine, well, whoever comes into your life, whatever capacity, I still pray that they bring that to you. But I don't see you being single. I feel like I'm gonna get a phone call like, "Hey, Gina, I got married." I see that. And that's real talk. Like I see that, and and when you do, just know me. Like, remember that video we did?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember it. That aged well.
Right. So I hope all of that for you. I wish nothing but that for you. Like for real, I think you deserve it. That's some real talk, friend to friend. I really do think you deserve that.
Thank you, Gina.
My daddy said, "Do you listen? Listen to me." I know what Pastor Sarge said, but listen to me. I know you well, okay?
I don't know, Gina. I don't know. He's a pastor.
Okay, well, so I guess the next thing, what we're gonna do, let me see, MW Junior
You will
1069
not
says,
be the
"Amen.
first
I will be
person
the first
dancing at
person to
my
dance
wedding,
at the
at
wedding."
my
That's right. We're gonna do a two-step. We're gonna get it in, okay?
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
So the time is kind of winding down a little bit. So what I do want to do, I want to bring you back. I
Okay,
actually want to bring you back on um with JB from that who I had on last week.
okay.
So I would like to bring both of you all back at the same time. I'm gonna reach out to him to bring you back. Um, I think because I like what you had to say, and I kind of like how you all fed off of each other the last time too. So
Okay.
I'm gonna reach out to him and I'm gonna let you know. So it'll probably be the last Friday of the month because I won't be on next Friday because I
Okay.
have a wedding to go to.
Okay.
Um, so I definitely do want to do that. But before I do go, I want to afford you the opportunity to give people like a word of encouragement,
Oh,
like
definitely.
give them your final thought.
My final thoughts of today is do what pleases your soul. Um, if you say you're tired, be tired. Not just tired, be tired and done. A lot of times we stay in mess too long, and then we wonder why we can't get this thing off of us. Live your life, live it unapologetically who you are. I also have a podcast that I do. It's going to actually broadcast this Tuesday, October the 11th, on the Instagram handle breast underscore talk underscore Tuesday. I'm a two-time breast cancer survivor, and I'll be talking to men and women because men get breast cancer too about just breast cancer. And I want you guys to know that it's important to not go to war with people who are at war with themselves. Stay grounded. stay connected to the right power source, which is God.
Amen.
That's all I have to say.
All right, girl. So I thank you so much for changing the time that we had. I know it
Oh,
was
no
kind of
problem.
last minute, but I do appreciate that.
No problem.
And to everyone who joined me today, I do appreciate you all for coming on. To know that you all still came on at 5:30, whether it was for me or was for Ty, I don't really care. You on? Thank you. So I'm gonna post this and Ty. I'm also gonna make you a collaborator so
Okay.
that you can post it to your page as well.
Okay.
Um, so everyone, just don't forget to click like and share. Go and follow Ty, and if you can, follow me, and I'll follow you right back. As stated, I will be back on not this week, but I will announce the next one as soon as I get the lineup and confirm everything. Um, but again, thank you all. Thank you all. And Ty, I thank you. I'm giving you loves and hugs. You know I
Oh,
love
thank you,
you.
Eugenia.
And I can't wait for your podcast. Make sure you do a reminder so that I can pop on and and watch your show. Um,
Absolutely.
so, but until next time, everybody, I will see you all next real soon. Again, like I said, I'll make the announcement soon. You all have a wonderful weekend and y'all be safe. I love
Peace,
y'all.
love, and light.
Bye.
Bye.